Cuckoo-cuckoo-choo. Cuckoo-cuckoo-choo. Has anyone in this family ever seen a chicken?
It's such a good show.
It's such a great show. And like that's that
Till Netflix got a hold of it.
I still haven't watched seen the newer stuff.
Tried it a couple times and I just like nah.
But like that clip will always make me laugh regardless. Because it's just like how they just like literally all three of them just acting completely wildly different and not anywhere remotely-esque as like a chicken. And Jason Bateman just has anyone in his family ever seen a chicken?
It's a fun running joke too.
Yeah,
the whole show.
Because everyone in the family.
Well, because remember when Job gets his ass kicked in Mexico?
No.
Yeah, he does it in Mexico. In Mexico, it means something else. In this world, it means I can't remember what it means, but it's something derogatory.
That's fucking hilarious.
And so he gets this, like he starts to do it, and Michael's like, no. Remember last time you did that?
I mean, the thing that I love about that show most, though, is really Jason Bateman, because he's like, in the family. He's like the one that he's the straight guy to all of their fucking, antics, So he thinks he's just so much better than everyone. And then when he gets into the real world, he's just as worse as any of them. He's no better than any of them.
Well, yeah, it's like the same with like Bob.
Like in Bob's Burgers?
Yeah, so he's like the anchor of reality until he isn't anymore.
Until he's out of the family. And he's like, oh, Bob's just as fucking weird too.
Yeah. That is not the cold open I expected. Arrested Development. Wasn't what I thought we were going to talk about.
Did you have something? I mean, we should probably open it.
Yeah, this is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is
Tommy and Jacob's Mixtape.
America.
Fuck yeah!
America.
Actually, I got the lyrics right here. Come on again to save the motherfucking day, yeah, America! Fuck yeah! That's all I'm gonna do.
We're not doing that movie.
No, we are not.
That
would be a wild movie to do.
For those celebrating, Happy 4th. That's what you're doing.
I mean, that was last week.
That's what I meant. Hope you had a Happy 4th.
Because last week, Independence Day came out.
Yeah.
Will Smith, welcome to Earth.
Bitch. He didn't say it.
I always thought he did, though.
I did, too. I really thought he followed it up with a bitch.
Same. Maybe that's, Mandela effect.
Maybe a different timeline. No, we are doing something that I remembered wildly differently than what it was.
Really?
Yeah. We're doing 1997's Air Force One.
America!
And for those of you that don't know, Air Force One, the president, his staff, and family are hijacked on the presidential plane, the Air Force One.
Yes.
For those who don't know, that is the plane that takes the president at the time to and for or wherever they need to go.
His private plane.
Which I've always been very curious about getting on.
Really?
I just think, it's a pretty impressive piece of machinery.
I mean, it's just like big plane.
But it's got like a command center. It's got offices. It's bulletproof. It's like the Beast, the car. That would also just be cool to look at and just kind of look.
I see what you mean. Yeah, I mean,
from a mechanical standpoint.
I mean, but like, obviously, I've never been on that big of a plane. I've only been on a couple of planes, mind you, but there is like a sense of like what this movie shows on like the like in the cabin of the fucking plane or whatever. Seems it's like a fucking TARDIS, it seems like it's bigger on the inside of it.
Oh, like yeah, I can see that. You're kind of like, how big is this plane?
It's kind of like, remember when we were reviewing?
How can you not find him?
When we were reviewing, I Know What You Did Last Summer, and we were like, how big is this boat actually? That there's an entire fucking cooler of ice and all of this like
vaguely, yeah.
It's like, there's no way this little fucking fishing boat has this big of a fucking, like, mechanical dock or whatever,
Yeah. Well, but yeah, what was I getting? Oh, I thought this was just way more of just action movie. Because even when you pull it up too, it says drama and suspense, and I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a political thriller.
I was like, I just remember Harrison Ford. Fuck yeah, going to
get off my plane.
Yeah, you know, like do. But I was like, oh wow, this is actually a pretty terrifying situation.
Yeah, right.
This is pretty horrifying. Like he does, and our villain is doing some. He don't give a fuck.
He don't give a fuck.
And I was like, I don't remember.
And Harrison Ford is putting on a fucking great performance. Also,
it's like I was like, wow, this is a really traumatizing experience for everyone involved. And I didn't remember it like that, so it was kind of fun to go back and watch that.
Well, because it's also like. This is like one of the most America movies as well. Like, and
this is when people still cared about the president.
Exactly. Well,
which they do depending on what side you're on.
This is definitely the late 90s was kind of peak America, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. We majority of the nation agreed on the president. You know, we liked him, Bill Clinton. I did not have relations with that woman. Oh God, I saw a meme the other day that Monica Lewinsky, and it said the original Hawk to a girl. And I died laughing. Anywho, but like,
okay, sorry.
There is definitely an America hurrah thing that. Up until like the Bush administration was like, it was just like a thing, you know? And it's really weird to think back. Like it feels like sometimes you watch these movies and you're like, this feels like a goddamn propaganda film to just make everybody in America go, just jerk off about America. Yeah, we're so cool.
We're the best. Well, it is. It's the superhero.
Yeah.
America's going to come save the day.
And like what's interesting about this movie is that I was sitting there thinking is like, you know, yeah, once you added the element of it being the president, it makes it, you know, that whole thing, you know, like the president being a hero. We want our president to be a hero. But if you take out him being the president, this is just Die Hard on a plane.
I wasn't going to say it because once I had that thought, it kind of ruined it a little bit.
I mean, that's just what it is.
It is, yeah.
It's just Die Hard on a plane.
Because it has that element where he's like a real dude.
Yeah.
He's not like a fucking...
Well, and like at the end of the day, even though he is the president, Jim Marshall, what's his name? As president? Marshall?
Marshall, yeah. President Marshall.
Yeah. He's trying to... He's not worried about his life, and he's more worried about saving his family. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. Well, at first, it's all very presidential. Like,
yeah.
We can't backtrack on what we said because then it'll be
do not negotiate.
It will be open season on America's ass if we do that. And then
if you give a mouse a cookie,
that made me laugh so hard.
He'll ask for a glass of milk.
I was like, "What? Am I having a stroke?" Harrison Ford, what are you talking about? A glass of cookie? Who gives a mouse a cookie?
Well, what? I mean. Sure, and
I've just never heard that colloquialism.
It's not a very common one, no, but it's
now in my lexicon.
It's a really good metaphor.
It's a great one. It's a good one. It's better because all it is give him an inch, he'll take a mile.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's more cute.
Yeah, it's cute.
But yeah, let's get before we're kind of jumping ahead here. Air Force One was released July 21st, 1997. And then had a U.S. release the 25th.
Yeah, so its premiere was the 21st.
So we're actually coming right up on the anniversary of it. Funny enough.
True, yeah. And I mean the anniversary. Well, I mean we are also the anniversary of Independence Day was. You know, yeah. Anywho, also I mean it's just summer movie. Make America fuck yeah.
Yeah. USA.
And this was number 5 in the box office.
Yeah.
And I really think like the big reason, like I think this movie, Harrison Ford does a lot of the heavy lifting. The name.
Yeah, but then also Gary Oldman.
But then Gary Oldman is like this amazing surprise.
Yeah, that like they have there's just some moments just in the writing where I was really like, all right. But
yeah.
And dialogue specifically, I was like, that was a pretty solid like set right there between everybody.
Yeah.
You know, I did have this realization though that Harrison Ford always seems bored with everything to me.
He kind of does, yeah.
Right? He's always just bored.
Even in interviews, like
that's what I'm saying. I think I noticed it because I see him in interviews, and it's like
he's like relaxed and like they ask him a question.
It's like the dude doesn't really act a lot of the time
with his fucking pierced ear, and he's like, Yeah, I slept with Carrie Fisher.
Well, even his beginning, like that beginning speech is great.
Yeah.
But even then, it's, he's given this impactful that, do not negotiate with terrorists. We will come find you thing.
We're sorry, but we took too long to do this.
He
so
sounds,
American.
But he sounds so bored. All these people died.
I don't know. I felt like there was a sympathetic nature to it.
Kind of towards the end, but the initial, when he started, I was like, this is just how he talks and everything.
I know.
I didn't kill my wife.
He doesn't say it like that.
That's how I remember it.
No. I mean, Tommy Lee Jones is more bored in that one. Because he's like, I didn't kill my wife. I don't care.
That's a great line. Okay, sorry. So our director, Wolfgang Petersen, who I've actually done twice.
Yeah.
Which I didn't realize.
I just wasn't expecting him to be the director of this.
Me neither.
But also, I'm pretty sure we brought this up when we did him.
But yeah, we talked about him in episode 65 and 144 with Never Ending Story and Enemy Mine.
Yeah. And also, what's up with these German dudes directing America hype movies?
I have some thoughts on that I'm not going to share.
Does it involve
maybe not
something along D-Day?
I don't know. It really is. It could be also the American freedom idea. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because even then, I mean, he did Perfect Storm, which I've always wanted to watch.
It's a great movie.
Is it?
Yeah. It's sad by the end. Well, yeah.
And then
do you know what happened?
Yeah, I know most of it. And then Troy, which I thought those are the ones that stood out to me.
Yeah, and Troy, he's got a really weird direction.
Yeah, and Troy's cool. I don't know. I can't remember if it's good. I remember being cool.
I recently, it was playing at work the other day.
Brad Pitt's all brooding and
he's Achilles. Dude, what was it? I saw a post.
He's all bronzed.
This is way off topic, but
that's par for the course.
There's a post of someone being like seeing Troy in the theaters, and Achilles gets shot through his heel. You know, the Achilles heel, and someone in the theater is like, "Oh, really? His heel? How like." Like, not realizing that's where the name came from. Just like, oh, that's a little on the nose, don't you think?
Oh, not understanding
it's just like,
the origin of that. It's like, I guess there's nothing worse than being a jackass and being wrong.
Right. All right. So, yeah, Wolfgang Petersen. I don't know. Maybe should we just do in a Wolfgang Petersen block?
I was actually thinking about that.
Finish off his.
Well, I was thinking about. Like,
he doesn't have a huge list as well.
One day we're going to finish a director's because Wolfgang did pass away in 2022.
Yeah.
One day we will just accidentally finish someone's filmography. And I'm kind of like, it's gonna be an interesting day when that just this is the last one.
Yeah, we've seen all of it.
Yeah.
Rank them now. And then our writer for this, Andrew W. Marlowe, who doesn't have a lot of writing credits.
Yeah, I just wrote down End of Days and Hollow Man, which I would like to watch End of Days again.
I was expecting you to get a little more excited about Hollow Man.
Why? That movie is great.
Yeah, no, because I know you like it.
It's creepy as fuck.
Very creepy. Kevin Bacon is a nightmare.
Yeah.
It's the Invisible Man.
Yeah.
The Invisible Man.
For a guy that majority of the movie you can't see, he's
naked.
He's pretty terrifying in
he's
that movie.
Naked that entire movie.
That'd be a cool block to do. Like really.
Is it Elizabeth Shue?
Yeah, I think she's in that. Right?
It sounds like.
Man, it has a really low rating. I wonder why it has such a low rating.
Hollow Man?
Yeah, I haven't seen it in.
Yeah, it's because it's more run of the mill.
Yeah, it is Elizabeth Shue.
Yeah.
And Josh Brolin.
Yeah, he's the.
Right. He's our good guy. It's like Kevin Bacon's our bad guy, and he's our good guy.
Yeah.
Right. God, he looks different.
Yeah.
Age.
And
a beard.
Well, was I even thinking about him when he was in The Goonies, the baby face?
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm just like, there's like 3 distinct versions of Josh Brolin. There's like teenager, middle, end.
No Country. It's like No Country for Old Men, and he couldn't go back.
Yeah, that's a good point. They're like, well, he somehow didn't get typecasted till now, so good for him. That was gruff.
Oh yeah, he was Thanos too. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and he's also Cable.
Cable, yeah. I did write down for Andrew W. Marlowe as well, Castle, because he was the creator of it.
Yeah, what is that?
That's a Nathan Fillion comedy cop thing. Not comedy. Like Bones type thing.
Okay.
Like
Yeah, I saw Nathan Fillion was in it.
yeah. And The Equalizer, which I've only heard of, but I know it's a show today, running now still.
Trying to keep it current. Okay. That's everybody, right?
Yeah, that's
pretty
just
straightforward.
Like, director and writer, yeah, just one on one. I couldn't really get much about like the development of this,
Like the production and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kinda
Other
feels-
than like, I think I saw something that there was another director on board at first, and then they backed out. Kevin Costner was originally supposed to be the president, and then
that wouldn't have been bad.
it would have been a completely different movie.
Yeah, but I don't think that.
Hey, Kevin Costner, get off my. Oh wait, no, I'm getting him confused with Liam Neeson in my head right now. Kevin Costner, Robin Hood.
Waterworld. Sorry for the dead air. Okay.
I wouldn't.
I was really curious what you were going to do, so I went quiet, and we both can't be quiet at the same time. Okay, our cast. So like we said, starring Harrison Ford as President James Marshall.
Who we have talked about a couple
yes,
times.
In Blade Runner, Cowboys and Aliens.
Oh, yeah. Star Wars.
Star Wars.
He's Han Solo.
He's
Indiana Jones. He's in The Fugitive.
He's in Apocalypse Now.
Harrison Ford is in Apocalypse Now?
I saw that on his list, and I was like, man, I really need to actually...
He's got a bit part in that then, because I don't remember.
I feel like, but that's the thing. I feel like with Apocalypse Now, if you were to go back, you'd see a lot of people that you recognize now.
Oh, no, 100%. There's a lot of
people in that.
Because, I mean, but they're all young.
Yeah. So I just think that'd be...
Apparently, in the filming of that, nobody realized that Marlon Brando had like put on a shitload of weight and was like overweight. So when they decided to film it to hide that, that's why his character's like in the shadows. And it just ended up working really well for the film, for him to just like not be seen ever.
You still haven't actually watched it all the way through.
Oh, really?
That's one of the ones. I always got to get in the mindset for it, because I'm like...
You're going to watch Apocalypse Now, and you're going to realize how many movies
reference
that movie.
And then up next we had Gary Oldman, who plays Ivan. We never actually know his real name.
Or last name, I guess. Or,
No,
or are they all just code names?
Well, I always assume, because when his fingerprint thing comes up, it says Ivan, and I was like, well, that's not going to be his real name. It's a made up identity to be.
I see what you're saying,
right?
But they call him Ivan on the.
No, they never say his name. I never caught them say his name.
Yeah.
No. I don't think they ever.
No, because they're like, oh yeah, he's blah blah blah. He's a radical for Radek of the Russian.
Yeah, but they don't say his name. They just say that.
I thought they said his name.
I didn't think they did. Maybe we did. But one of us missed something. But I thought that they were just like, yeah, we just know he's a radical for Kazakhstan.
Yeah, and it was Radek was the guy that they wanted.
Radek, yeah, General Radek. But yeah, Gary Oldman. We did in Fifth Element. We did him. Sorry, that's a weird way to put that. The Dark Knight franchise, another big name in the franchise world.
Yeah,
Harry Potter.
Oh yeah.
You know, the Dark Knight series.
Commissioner Gordon. Yeah. He's Sid and Nancy. He's Dracula.
Kung Fu Panda 2.
I haven't seen anything.
I only bring that up because weirdly for that franchise, they get the best people to be their villains.
Oh, fair.
And the villains are always really like pretty solid. Like they're pretty, they're very archetypal, but
yeah,
they're cool. Like Idris Elba's one of them. Like they just get cool names to be their villains. And Gary Oldman is in the second one. He's a peacock, albino peacock.
Oh,
his weapon are knives hidden in his feathers.
It's interesting. Is I read that working like Wolfgang Petersen working with Gary Oldman, how he was taken aback by this, like when the camera wasn't rolling, how like pleasant of a person Gary Oldman was, joking, having a good time,
then he could just switch it on,
and then action. I killed myself.
He just drops dead.
Did you just watch the life leave my body?
Just for a second. The spark left. Sorry. But yeah,
I'm
Gary
a little sick. Sorry, guys.
But Gary Oldman, who's incredible. I love Gary Oldman.
Oh yeah. Then you want to just like do a quick list of everyone else, other people.
I had Glenn Close up for next, just because also
vice president. The woman is the vice president.
I just thought it was weird.
They were ahead of the time.
You got Glenn Close, and then you didn't really have her do a lot. And it's Glenn fucking Close.
She did some great acting. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but it's not. I just thought she would have done. I don't know. I just felt like they didn't utilize her as much as they could have because Glenn Close. You know, she's incredible.
She was putting her foot down, not letting them take the power away from the president. She did her job.
Yeah, she did it. I don't know. I just felt like they didn't do. I don't know. I just was like, what's Glenn Close like? And maybe it's because I had just watched. Randomly, I had just watched 101 Dalmatians.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I was like,
I can't think what else I've really seen her in.
But she's pretty, like, I feel like we sleep on Cruella de Vil now as a villain.
Well, I mean, the Cruella movie came out with.
Yeah, and that was terrible.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Isn't there a sequel coming
I don't know. I didn't get this, or I don't get this origin story villain thing that to make us understand them more. I'm like, that's not their purpose.
Disney villains have bigger personalities.
That's not their point. That's not their purpose in the original story. But it's like, if you go down to it too, it's like Cruella de Vil straight up wants to kill puppies and make them into a coat.
Yeah.
You're like, that's pretty brutal.
But there's a reason why.
Yeah, but you're like, no, there's no reason. I don't care.
Do we need a reason why Jeffrey Dahmer did what he did?
She like in the first one, the puppies are born. She barges into this couple's house.
Yeah.
And is going to pay 7,500 pounds for them. And then just goes, throw them in a bag. I'll take them to go. You're like, this woman is horrible. I don't need to know her origin story. I don't care. But yeah, anyway, sorry. That was a tangent. But Glenn Close was great in that movie.
Yeah.
God, she was despicable. It was good.
I got William H. Macy. It has a small role. It's cool to see.
Oh, and Fatal Attraction. That's a big one. Well, yeah, William H. Macy, another weird one. Another kind of he was a name at this point, right?
Yeah, I mean, Pleasantville had come out, and yeah. I want to say Fargo had come out by this point.
And I'm just, didn't we do something with him in it?
Maybe I didn't look at his. I don't have.
I didn't write.
Yeah.
I just wrote down the main three basically.
And then I got Xander Berkeley, who is our turncoat. Mm-hmm. Who also he's in an episode of X-Files. Just I got to call it out when I see it. And he's a really big voice actor throughout DC, just in general.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Wendy Crewson, who plays Grace Marshall,
first wife,
first lady,
first wife,
first lady,
first wife,
first lady,
first child. the girl, also, the girl that plays the daughter weirdly looks a lot like Jenna Ortega. Did you see that?
No, I'd have to look at her. Oh, actually, I could just Leslie Matthews. Mm-hmm. Oh, kinda.
Right?
Weird. Yeah, I kind of see it.
I'm like, what the fuck?
Not to a T, but
No.
I can see what you're seeing. Okay. Huh.
I just really quick wanted to also say Elia Baskin, who is the pilot that came in for the Russians, because he's Peter Parker's landlord.
Right, that's what it was. I was
Yeah,
trying to figure
right.
that out. I was like, God, he looks so familiar, but he reminded me of the Sticky Bandit.
Rent is due on the 1st.
That's what he kind of reminded me of.
Of who? Sorry,
The Sticky Bandit. What's his name?
Oh,
Totally blanking. City Slickers.
Yeah, Very Bad Things.
Yeah.
The voice of Wonder Years.
What the fuck is his name? I'm totally...
Dan Schneider.
Daniel
P.
Daniel.
Daniel Stern. Daniel Stern.
Daniel Stern. Yeah.
Woo!
Okay. Nice
We got
job.
there.
Nice job.
Fuck yeah.
America. Okay. Sorry. This is kind of really losing the rails here. He's sick and I'm in a bad mood.
So we're gonna do reviews now.
So this sucked. Yeah. So give us our scores. while I pull that up.
So this has a 6.5 on IMDb, and then a 79 tomato meter and a 66 audience score, which I don't know. I had a thought of like comparing it with Independence Day's like scores and stuff.
They're so different.
They're very different movies, but they're also very America movies, you know?
Yeah.
One's like a roller coaster, like park ride, like a or Universal Studios ride, and this is like a book.
Well, this is more my thing too, because this is in a sense more of an isolated incident, which I always like in my stuff. You know, granted, it would have repercussions throughout the world, but it is more. Anyways, so Metacritic, this gets a 62, which comes to generally favorable. It's in the green, with 15 positive reviews, 6 mixed, and 4 negative. Top of the top was 100 out of 100 by Owen Glimmerman at Entertainment Weekly. Harrison Ford as the President of the United States is such a perfect piece of casting that is at once, it's at once a fantasy and a joke. The joke is how perfect the fantasy is.
That's very funny.
And it's
I was thinking if, like, let's say, I know a movie like this would not get made today. Nobody.
No one would go see it. Well, certain
people would. But I was sitting there trying to think of, like, the action star that Harrison Ford was doesn't really exist anymore.
Well, I think there is still one.
Who? Tom
Cruise. It's different. It's a little more of an updated version, but that's probably the closest you can get.
And I was sitting there trying to think if this movie, let's say, was to get made today,
jumping off cliffs,
who would be cast as the president? As like someone who is homey looking enough, but gruff man, like, and that, but believable to like stand up and against a bunch of, like, you know, terrorists like this.
Well, I mean,
like the first thought was like maybe Robert Downey Jr. Do you see where my brain's at?
Yeah, but you also have to keep in mind too that we're still much, I feel like, the generation of, I mean, it's still there, but I just have to keep in mind that we're the generation still of the bigger stick mentality.
Yeah.
You know, and it kind of seems like we're heading to a direction where shouldn't really be the case anymore.
No, not at all. Yeah,
you shouldn't be scared of the big stick, but
you should treat it with respect.
You should treat it with respect, kind of thing. You shouldn't flaunt it around, you know?
Yeah. I'm not really too worried about the actual message of the film or anything.
No, I'm trying to think of like who would fill. But are you saying specifically the gruff?
Yeah, because I mean, I was thinking maybe even like a Denzel Washington.
He'd be great.
Yeah.
Just like.
But Denzel Washington, I guess Denzel Washington might be the closest, because Harrison Ford is probably like 50 or 60 making this film, and that's where Denzel Washington kind of is now. Because I'm also thinking like age is kind of a factor.
Well, how old was what?
Harrison Ford? Harrison Ford's probably like 60 making this. 50 or 60?
No.
Yeah.
No. 97? He wasn't 60 years old in 97. Yeah, do the math on that. I'm like, there's no fucking way.
Harrison Ford birth date. No, not what? Harrison Ford birth date. Sorry, guys. He was born in 1942, so he was 56. He
was 55 in this?
Yeah.
Wow, he looked great.
I mean, yeah, he's like fucking almost 80.
How old is he?
He's almost 80, dude.
Is he really?
Yeah.
When is he born?
He was born in 1942.
He's 82? Whoa! My mind is blown. Is anyone else blown? That's incredible to me.
He looks great.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he was 82.
Yeah. And he filmed Star Wars like when he was in his 70s.
My God.
That's why when he broke his ankle, everybody's like, "Oh my God."
What the fuck has him and Bruce Willis been drinking? Jesus.
Well, Bruce Willis.
Well, yeah, but still. Like Bruce Willis, but what? Bruce Willis was like 40 something in Fifth Element.
Yeah.
He did not, I don't know, he looked great then too, you know? He had 20 years on Mila and it didn't look like he had 20 years. You would think maybe 10.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair.
Maybe. But the fact that he had 20 years he had a full on voting child at that point. You know what I mean? It's kind of, wow, I did not realize that. Sorry for doubting you. I did not think he was that old.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoa.
So you see where I'm going with like.
He was 55 in 1997. God, it's incredible too. Kind of what you were saying about, like, we were talking about his big franchises. Harrison Ford has been in my life so much.
Yeah.
it's kind of he has just been, and I'm not saying like I'm alone on that, but it's just kind of I was watching him and I was like, you've just been around my whole life.
Yeah,
it's kind of wild, but yeah.
All right, well, let's go into the next review.
Okay, I'm gonna think on that. I'm curious now.
Oh, like
the president thing. Oh, I kind of like this one because it was kind of mean. 50 out of 100 by David Sturrett at the Christian Science Monitor. The movie wastes a good opportunity to look at important questions. Oh. Such as, who's responsible for American policy when the president is busy killing terrorists? I read that.
That is so good.
I read that really intrigued. Like, oh, like what are we gonna... For 1997, what comment are we going to make? No.
Nope. And here's a joke. But I got you. I'm a comedian now.
That I didn't put another. So then for the negative, 30 out of 100, Terrence Rafferty at the New Yorker. The picture's attempt to satisfy the aggressive fantasies of a graying white male audience is weirdly fascinating. It's something you don't see every day. A geriatric comic book.
Damn. Does the 55 make more sense now with that?
Yeah. Well, it's just funny too because I thought that was really interesting because I was reading that and I was like, well, I don't think it's just graying white male fantasy because I was like, I watched this and I liked it a lot, but I was also like, but I also just liked Harrison Ford.
Yeah,
anything Harrison Ford.
We were groomed.
Yeah, so we were groomed into. But I just thought the geriatric comic book. It's like, which I also thought I kind of wanted to point out because it has that action quality thing, but I do think that something that really does save this movie is the fact that Harrison Ford is just a man.
Yeah.
He is not your last action hero guy. Mm-hmm. Like even in the situation when
he has military training, which is why he can do a little bit what he's doing
25 years ago.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like, and I think they really put that forth. Like it's not like they say that and then, oh, he can do anything. They say that like, hey, he does no military stuff, but even when you get to our first...
He was a helicopter pilot is what
he did rescue missions.
The general said,
Yeah, he was a pilot. And even when we get into our first situation of like our first hand-to-hand combat fight, he's trying to sneak by the guy. Mm-hmm. And it's I really appreciated that. He wasn't like, all right, I'm like a puma. I'm gonna hide in this closet, and then when he comes by, I'm gonna break his neck. It's like
he's not Arnold. It's not an Arnold Schwarzenegger type
or Bruce Willis
or Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah,
well, Bruce Willis now, like
now,
Die Hard. Like I said, but he was sneaking around in Die Hard.
Yeah, but now then he kind of became that a lot of ways in his older stuff. I hate doing that, but it gives me such a thrill. You're like, okay, Bruce, calm down.
It's about family.
Keep my wife's name out your fucker.
Yeah,
I lost my train of thought. We shouldn't have a platform to do this.
Jesus Christ!
Spiral.
All right, guys, this is the last episode.
It's over. No, but I really did appreciate that he is just this guy, and there's just multiple moments that it shows that, like he tries to dump the fuel and he has to really...
He's resourceful.
Pure luck. Yeah. He has to fly the plane and everyone has to walk him through
Blue. Don't let me down now.
Yeah, and I just like that he doesn't... It's just not like... Obviously, they train the president how to fly the Air Force One in case of emergency. I know it officially does not exist, but do you think there is an escape pod in the Air Force One?
There is not one.
I said officially... I also think it'd be very smart to not tell anyone that there's no, you know what I mean? Like, they're over to the White House.
Somebody's got some conspiracy theories coming up over here, guys.
It's like, no, there's no escape pod. You're like, are you sure? It kind of feels like you would have an escape pod in the Air Force One.
It's like, yeah, what if something, the president needs to get away?
Yeah, I feel like there is, but you wouldn't tell people that. That's what I'm saying. I feel like there is one.
It's interesting because you read that on Wikipedia.
Yeah, I read that too.
Yeah, it's like, it's in multiple movies, it has been shown or present it that there's an escape pod for the president, but in the real world there is not.
No. It kind of feels really similar to them wanting to take out the Area 51
I was
bit.
just about to say there is no Area 51.
Yeah, it kind of feels like, nah. It's like one lone CIA agent jumping on Wikipedia, and there is no, just job done.
The lizard people do not exist.
It's like, but all in all, this movie seems to, people liked it.
I mean, what
is actually, I didn't read the zero. Ooh,
oh yeah, let's do that real quick.
Zero, Charles Taylor. If you've ever sat in a jet waiting on the runway, feeling it lumbering along in place and then buckling and shaking when it's cleared for takeoff, you know what it's like to sit through Air Force One. It is pretty long.
I don't think we needed to read that one, but I'll get to that.
I
mean, it's a little over 2 hours. It
does kind of drudge along to me.
The escape at the end is kind of, I mean, it needs to happen because, we need how did we get off the plane? But that's kind of like the part where it kind of drudges along the most, I feel.
I really think that it actually, it's weird because in theory, like on paper, it actually moves at a great pace.
Yeah.
I just think they just needed to trim a little bit here, a little bit there, just tiny bits of amount, and then it would have just come down because they really just focus on certain things too long.
They ended up taking out a big part, and that's the revelation of why his lead Secret Service guy betrayed him.
Yeah, I read a review on that, and then I didn't notice that we just never touched base.
We never get it. Literally at the end, I was like, why did he do this? Why does he turn on the president?
Well, because then he also says something when they're trying to escape of, I trusted you. And it's like, and so will the next president. And you're kind of like, nah, dude, they'll find out.
Yeah.
You're the only one left on the plane. And then you come out not the president. When now
there's going to be a fucking
hardcore investigation.
You're going to go on trial.
Well, it's like not only are they, and they're already going to do an investigation. The only reason they haven't caught you yet is because they're busy with this situation.
Yeah.
But you're a national security breach.
Yeah.
They're going to try and find it. You know what I mean? So it's like, you're kind of fucked either way. Like you need to get over to Kazakhstan now, man. That's where you live. Like that's right. That's where you live now. You don't live here. You need to get the fuck out of Dodge.
You should just jump off the plane with a parachute.
Yeah,
there are no parachutes left, but yeah.
But you know what I mean? I was just kind of like, what? I was like, that's so bizarre that we just don't even if
it's the biggest oversight in this movie.
Did you read what it was?
They go on a thing. Yeah, there's a little bit on Wikipedia about the policies that he did, something about ruining his family or some shit. I can't fully remember.
Well, no, that's Ivan's.
No, okay, hold on a second. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Because Ivan's is that the American policies made their country full of gangsters and prostitutes and have ruined his country by letting them take over power. Is Gary Oldman's vendetta.
Gibbs was here we go. Gibbs was a former CIA agent who lost a lot after the end of the Cold War and thus became angry with the American government and wanted revenge. He knew the terrorists from CIA days, and so they included him in their operation. The scene was considered too long to tell, and so it was cut from the film. The director also felt that it was unnecessary to have the scene in the film, so it was removed as it was irrelevant to the plot.
I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, it's the carrot thing. You don't need it.
That's the crazy fucking thing is that we watched this movie. I enjoyed this movie. I was giggling through a lot of it. He's beating up terrorists. Never felt more patriotic in my life. And then we accept everything. And when he confronts him at the end and we're like, yes, he's getting the turncoat. Actually, he's not getting off the plane. And we just accept it. And then then it was like, oh, wait, yeah, why? What? Oh, but we don't care. No, weirdly, at the end of the day.
Yeah, because they're terrorists. That's...
Yeah.
America fights terrorists. You know, like that's
Girl.
I feel like that's just kind of the thing, you know, especially with people in a post 9/11 world too.
Yeah.
That, you know, that was a thing we really grew, like became adults while that was going on.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like, it's like, it kind of, with weirdly Harrison Ford, it's like kind of in Indiana Jones, you know, you don't care what he's doing.
But he's beating up Nazis.
He's beating up Nazis, and that's the magic word. And then you're like, get him, you know. Yeah. And that's kind of at this era too.
It's still very much, yeah.
And then going into this era too is just slap terrorist on somebody, and because even then, as you get older too, and you're hearing Ivan's complaints about things, it doesn't justify his actions. But when you're sitting there, and that's the thing I missed when I was a kid, is you're sitting there and you're actually listening to what he's saying, which also, I'm sorry, was really hard. Because not only was he putting on this thick accent, this Eastern accent, he was also whispering a lot of the time. He's talking very like this, America. And you're like, because then it would get blaring loud anytime any kind of action happened. And then we'd go very quiet because we're whispering.
And it was nominated for Best Sound, I want to say.
It was not, yeah, I think so. I think it was nominated for something like that. Yeah, accolades, Academy Award, nominated Best Sound.
And editing.
And film editing.
And it lost to Titanic.
You know that was in the bag.
Yeah.
Also, but it's like, that's something interesting to watch one of these kind of action movies, especially, like I said, not remembering that it was more of a political drama and hearing everyone's.
Yeah.
And even like, you know, with them being like, well, you know, in the Situation Room, like, what the hell do we do? The cabinet's up there, the president's up there.
Also, there was like, we don't have a protocol for this. Fuck, what? I know that's just like, you got to have it for the movie, you know? But it's like, they have a fucking protocol for this.
But it's just interesting for them to like keep in the Situation Room going back and forth about, well, if we do this, this will happen. If we do that, that will happen. Which it's just like the kind of the that's why people like political dramas, is like, oh, it seems like this one little thing, but it's going to domino and snowball into like, now we have an international event. But that's funny to the sound editing thing, because I was constantly up, down with the volume.
Why didn't you just have the subtitles on?
Because they were off.
What?
They were off.
Oh.
Like, it would
They weren't synced.
Like that scene.
They weren't synced up.
No, and that's, you know, like that scene where he was going to get the hostages out of the room. He's like fumbling with the door, and then it says gunshot. And then 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi,
and
3,
then a gunshot.
And then a gunshot. So it's just ruining all the suspense.
Oh, yeah.
Like, hey, heads up, if you were concerned, he's about to get shot at. Okay, cool. We good? We're good? All right, cool. And that would happen. And I was like, well, this is kind of ruining all the, like, suspense.
Fair, so you turned him off.
Yeah, I was like, this isn't working for me. And then that's when I had the problem with Gary Oldman and his fucking whispering. Oh, but I do want to say that scene between Gary Oldman, Ivan, and the president's daughter was...
Dude, Harrison Ford, all of them.
That was a great, like, his thing with that teenager.
Yeah.
You know, do you think me a monster? That whole thing. Like,
that
was really good. Oh, yeah. God, he's really good at this.
He kisses her on the head. You're like, you're gross.
Because like, I have 3 children. Does that surprise you? He was really great. And just even then, too, like, his whole thing about kind of like, for the things I will do for Mother Russia, and has no sway in my personal morality. You're like,
yeah,
this guy's not planning on coming back.
No, he's a radicalist.
Yeah. And it was interesting. Just Gary Oldman is just really fucking impressive.
Yeah.
Because even then too, it's like he has his obvious roles that he's done where he becomes someone else, like Hannibal.
Yeah, and
Hannibal. Dracula, you know, the prosthetics and everything.
Yeah.
But even when he's just a normal dude, he's like a dude with a goatee, short hair, describe him to a cop, you'd be like, average height.
He's 5'9".
Brunette.
He's like my height.
Goatee. You know, he's not anything interesting, but he is Ivan. What?
Yeah. Independence Day was playing on the TV the other day at work. And I saw Jeff Goldblum was taller than Will Smith as they were like walking in the desert. And I was like, what the fuck? How tall is Jeff Goldblum? He's 6'4".
How tall is Will Smith?
6'2".
Oh. Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, Jesus. And I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, dude, I wish, like, sometimes it's moments like that. I'm like, I wish I was fucking taller. Like, because if I was taller,
nothing would ask you to change. They would just ask you to get stuff on a higher shelf.
because okay. Taller guys get cast more as actors because the height is like, it's a weird thing. So when I see that, then I see Gary Oldman's 5'9", I'm like, maybe I'm just bad.
He's not a very. I didn't realize how he looks very small in this. Just even like stature wise,
He's not a big dude. No,
he's not. I just never noticed.
But he looks. But because of the personality that he puts out, he seems much larger than life.
Well, yeah, it was like because like in Fifth Element too, he's very imposing because Zorg. No, Zurg is Buzz Lightyear's nemesis. Zorg, right?
I really haven't done this before. We've had this conversation on the podcast.
Zorg. Yeah. Even that too. It's like he's not a big guy, but his personality is very intimidating. Yeah. So he seems kind of larger. You know, it's just weird psychologically how that works. You know. Thank you for listening to our podcast about Gary Oldman.
Yeah, right. I don't really know what else to say about it.
What are we at?
We're like 46.
Oh,
I mean, I think like the arc of, I mean, like I was kind of saying at the beginning, is that you for the premise of it being Air Force One and whatnot, you can't really take the presidential or like the patrioticness out of this movie, because if you do, it just becomes Die Hard. And that's the appealing thing for me on this movie, is the Die Hardness of it. And then you add that extra layer of the president being the hero.
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, and just to not like, to kind of make it more of a general term, kind of like it's the cat and mouse game.
Yeah,
that is entertaining. Then you add on this layer of the political drama about the ramifications that this is going to have, and even when they start talking about releasing the general, and the Russian president, and you have all these other kind of things going on, and then you add this element of the fact that the isolation, because all these wheels are turning in different parts of the world, and then he's up there, and there's a lack of communication because of the situation. So you're like, man, something could go really wrong really quick, and there'd be no one really to stop it, because there's so many like unknowns happening, which is kind of cool. And then the whole humanizing the action hero and just making him a father that wants to save. And even then, it's like, I mean, I knew it that was happening, but even the build up that he wasn't in the escape pod was actually kind of a pretty good twist.
It is a great reveal.
I'm sure it was really ruined by trailers and stuff like that.
I mean, of course. I mean, yeah, of course.
But if you went into this kind of blind and you just knew it as, like, sorry if you've never seen it. If you went into this kind of blind and you thought it was just about the Air Force One being hijacked and what happens there, and then it comes, but no, it's, the president's on there too, and he's gonna kick ass. It'd be kind of cool to be like, whoa.
Why wouldn't the president be on it? I mean, it's only in the air with the president's on it.
No, but what I'm saying is, and then you think the president escapes.
Oh, I see what you mean.
And you're like, oh, well, what's the movie gonna be now? Or the family, and like what's gonna happen? And then he pops out. It's kind of like, oh, that's fun.
Yeah, but also even like, it's kind of, I don't think it's that big of a reveal knowing that he's still on the plane. It's kind of more of like, where did he hide? How did he hide?
On top of where, like, really? No one went, maybe we should look on top of the thing he was supposed to be in. I don't know. He was just on top of the thing for a while too. That's what it like kind of implied.
Actually, now that's an interesting.
Oh, I had a question for you.
I wonder what the real timeline of this movie is, because it's a 2-hour-long movie.
How long were they in the air for?
Yeah,
I think it was just a day.
It's a lot of fuel.
Well, that's why they refueled.
Well,
I had a question for you.
What?
So there's that scene. He's running around, and then it shows him look at the laboratories, the bathrooms, and then the radicalist goes up and he shoots
all the doors,
boom, and then opens them, and he's not in there. And then Harrison Ford pops out. I didn't get it.
I just seemed like he went through like an event.
Am I crazy? Like, so they do this big thing. It's him standing there. And he's like, he looks at the bathroom. He's like, I have an idea. And you're like, okay, what's the idea? And then the shooting thing happens. And then he just kind of pops out of a wall somewhere. And I was like, that was not clear on what we did in that moment.
It's true.
Right?
Yeah.
I was like,
you're not crazy.
I'm like, did I blink too long? Like,
did you rewind it to see if you could figure it out?
No, it's just a good... Yeah, it's just kind of this moment of like, he just kind of,
he's a magician, huh?
And you can tell from the way
I can walk through walls.
Yeah, it's like, and from the way they shot it, you're supposed to know, and I couldn't understand what happened.
He's the president; he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, God damn it. You only know true freedom when you walk through walls. I don't know. I was just sitting there really like scratching my head. Like, I really feel like that was a really bad edit. Like, I just think there's something that...
And it was nominated for Best Film.
Yeah, I'm like, it really feels like...
But hey, that's the thing. A lot of people probably didn't really question it at the time.
Well, yeah, because even then it's like, okay, well, was he just in another cabinet? Like these are the laboratory doors and over here is like the pantry, and they didn't think to look in the pantry?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I don't know. I was just... Okay, I'm glad. I was just sitting there like, I really feel confused and stupid, and I don't know why.
I kind of want to go back to that scene in the movie and watch it a couple of times and see if I can
figure out I couldn't figure out what was going on, but it made me laugh pretty hard. And that's the thing, this movie, and that was another thing, because that's what I kind of liked, is that it had these moments where it's like the really high tension and then it would make you laugh. And I was like, I don't feel like I'm supposed to be laughing, but it's making me laugh. It's pretty funny. I felt bad for William H. Macy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I like it. I don't know. No,
dude, I felt bad for everybody on that plane. Obviously, once they were off, it was good. That would be so terrifying. Like he wasn't joking. I will kill a hostage every half hour.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a ploy. That's another I started laughing at when they do. That's the thing too. Is like for an action movie, some of the stuff was really cool, like the tricking them to dropping to a certain altitude for the parachute thing. I was like, that's cool. That's like a cool action movie way to get them out of the situation. And it's not really, it's handed to you, but doesn't feel, you know what I mean? Because it's all orchestrated. But I was just sitting there and that was that whole scene. And as they're flying out, I'm like, do we know what we're over?
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Like, are they just going into the ocean?
Yeah, like, are they going to the middle of the Atlantic Ocean? Are they going into hostile territory? Where are we?
They're landing in Tibet.
Or like North Korea? Or like, where are we? Because it's like, we kind of have an idea of where in the world they were.
Yeah.
And we're going back. But like, at what point did we finally take, you know what I mean? Because then at that point, if we're too far, now we're over the ocean.
Yeah, exactly.
So where are we? And then they said, it's been confirmed. We have 32 hostages rescued. I was like, okay, well, we found them. I thought we were just going to skip over all of that.
But like they say, I thought they were saying like the 23, 32 hostages off the plane, not found. Like there was like, and they're off the plane.
No, I very fair. But the thing is, they said 32. They don't know. They know how many people were on the plane. They don't know how many were killed. So have the number 32 or 23 or whatever. They'd have had to count them.
Fair.
Because no one has communicated that.
Yeah, all right.
And they don't know who's dead. So I was like, that to me says that they found them.
Yeah.
But I kind of was hoping that we just like never touched base on it again. Just threw them all out and we're like, all right.
Also, did you notice
Yellow Jacket, bitches?
The fucking fighter pilot that's just like sacrifices his life for the president.
Who?
It's like when Marshall has the plane, he's flying, but they're like still under attack by the fucking Russians, and this pilot is like, they fire a missile, but they have nothing less blow.
Oh.
And this pilot's like, I got you, President. Boom.
That's what you do for the president.
Dude, it's just but it was just so, he was like, I got you. It wasn't even like I got this, President.
Oh,
I have you. And he was just like, I got this. Boom. And I'm like, he was way too calm to take his life for the president.
I mean, that's what you're trained to do.
I don't know.
I will say I would feel actually pretty upset if we did not bring up the concepts. I was tripping out about it. The concept of how they get everybody off the now broken cannot land Air Force One was one of the coolest things I've seen in a movie in a while.
The crazy fucking zip line.
Holy shit! I was like, you know that they could probably do this too.
Yeah.
But it was just like, yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to get, you have a really big airplane, right? We got a really big airplane too. We're going to get really close, like barely almost touching close. And then we're going to send a man, just a man, a human man with a piece of string. And we're going to dangle him down to your plane. And then we're going to connect the wire. And then we're going to drop our plane below your plane. And you're all just going to, at 10,000 feet, just go on across.
And decreasing
Rapidly. That chef's kiss for American, like, fucking adrenaline shit. That
it's like, how can we take it to the next level?
Oh, that was because at that point that was like, I'm kind of checking out. Like, I want this just to be over. How are we gonna fix this situation? Okay, that's how we're gonna fix this situation. I'm in. Let's go. What could go wrong?
And then the president's like, no, them first, me last, because I have high morals. I'm a good man.
I like your Harrison Ford impression. I am Groot. But I thought that was really cool, and then I just like at that point too, it ends.
Yeah,
and it just shows them on the plane, and they go off, and the credits roll, and it wasn't like
Air Force One crashes, Gibbs dies is the real villain of it all ish, I guess.
Post credit scene, his hand just pops out of the water. But yeah, then it's just like there's no like them landing and then meeting up with the vice president
because they got him off the plane. That's all we need. The president's safe.
That's what we needed to do. We don't need to know about his policies anymore.
And they say something along the lines that this is now Air Force One because the president is on it.
Kyle Kinane has really ruined it ever since his dirt.
I mean, he didn't ruin it.
No, but he pointed it out. Kyle Kinane, comedian, has a newer special called Dirt Nap, and he has a joke about how the saving the president genre of movies is ruined.
Yeah, I think we brought it up once on the podcast, haven't we?
Probably.
Yeah.
But I was watching this like, yeah, it's pretty ruined now. You could make this movie. I just really
he's like, yeah, the last decade's kind of ruined the save the president of the United States genre of film.
Well, I think it's also in this day and age too. I wouldn't even really know how you would make this movie.
Like, what do you mean?
I don't know, just how you would make this super over the top.
Like, who would be the villain?
Yeah, just with like in all Star Wars movies, all the bad guys are English, or in all the Indiana Jones, they're German Nazis. They're all, you know what I mean? In this day and age, it's like, who...
It would be a Civil War type. I think it would be a Civil War type situation.
I think so, because at this point, it's like, who...
They would be Trump supporters.
Who do you want to villainize? Because that's what you have to do.
Trump supporters.
I mean, there's Civil War. That movie's already out.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've made it.
So now
we've gone full circle.
And now I really want to watch Civil War.
I do really want to see it.
Because if that is kind of what is now this era's America patriotic movie, in a sense, because, you can argue both sides.
Yeah.
I'm curious to watch that, because
I'm really curious to see, because the guy that's in it, one of the lead guys,
it's very descriptive.
I can't remember his name.
Got a face.
He's in Breaking Bad.
Pretty sure 2 years.
He's in the new Yorgos Lanthimos movie that's coming out with Emma Watson, or not Emma Watson.
I know what you're talking about.
I think his name is Jesse Plemons.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Did you really just pull it out of your ass from all that?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a journey up here right now. But no.
All right, let's get to rating this.
I'm like in between a 3 and a 2.5.
We gave what? What did we give Independence Day?
3.5.
Oh, then I say 3.
Yeah.
I think this is a pretty solid. It is. It's Die Hard
with the president.
I don't think, and it's one of those things. I think if you know this movie and you remember watching it when you were younger, I think it's worth a rewatch. Mm-hmm. If you've never seen it and if you're a little bit younger in age, I could see this not being your thing, like at all. Because
I don't think any of the younger generation would like this movie at all.
No, I don't think it really is.
This is definitely like if you're 30 and older.
Yeah, so if it's a movie, you're like, oh yeah, I forgot about that movie. It's definitely worth a rewatch, because again, I thought it was something entirely different. Like, not entirely, but I thought it was it was more thought out.
You thought there was more action in it.
Yes, it's more thought out in a dialogue and direction than I thought it was just kind of like, all right, Harrison Ford, God damn it, take off the fedora. Okay, good, gang, get him. You know what I mean? Like, it's just imagine Harrison Ford like in all the scenes, he's just like humming to himself, kind of like Ewan McGregor in the lightsaber, but he's doing the Indiana Jones theme song. Oh, am I doing it again? Sorry. I'm sorry.
Where's my whip?
Yeah. He starts, or he keeps trying to do the director. He's like, okay, when he pulls the gun on me, what if I pull out a whip and I pull the gun? No. Okay.
Your imagination of Harrison Ford being a goofy guy like that is very strange because from everything I've seen from him, he's nothing like that at all.
No, but that wasn't goofy. That was like him being dead serious.
Like he's lost his mind.
Yeah, like he's
Captain Planet.
Yeah. He's not goofy.
Is that Ted Turner on a zipline?
Is that what it's called? Zipline? I think so. Okay, we gotta stop. So 3.
If we were to go through every episode, I wonder how many times we've actually referenced that.
Captain Planet.
Yeah,
I don't know. A lot. It's funny. It's a good example of
someone losing their mind.
Yeah, a delusion, which I guess you shouldn't make fun of. But hey, we did. So, what are you gonna do about it?
Oh man,
shit happens. So 3.
Yeah.
And we have no idea what's next week, do we? We have to talk about that. Okay, well, so that was Air Force One. The 3 out of 5. I really enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to. My biggest thing, it was a little long, and the special effects were a little old, but it didn't. It was so quick that I was like, whatever. Like, and the sound editing was kind of.
I got everything I was expecting.
Yeah, it's a real.
Well, actually, no. I was a little bit more pleasantly. I enjoyed it more than I thought I was. Not like a large amount.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. When I found myself giggling about some of this show, like,
yeah, you give a mouse a cookie. And then and like kind of the reason I want to watch it was I was like, I remember Gary Oldman being great, and he didn't disappoint. He was great in it.
It's interesting. It's just a really quick side thought. Is in my younger age, I never really paid attention who played villains. So it never really like crossed my mind. So for me, like, this is the Harrison Ford movie, you know?
Yeah.
Now that I'm older, like, I want to play the villain more than anything. That's the character I want to play.
Well, it's because you're probably listening to what the villain, like what Gary Oldman is saying in this, is not wrong.
No.
His hatred to.
Well, but when I'm fucking 10 years old watching this, or 12 years old watching this, I'm not listening.
No, yeah,
to
that's what I'm saying. You're getting older, so you're actually.
No, I'm like,
you're hearing what the villain. You're like
maybe he's onto something over.
Yeah, it's like Gary Oldman's not wrong about America's policies that have affected other countries.
There's just like a weird Key and Peele sketch where like do something like this happening, and then like one of the hostages is like, man, he's really making a lot of sense right now, guys. And he's like, do you think we?
Or it's like,
should we switch sides?
It's like getting older is realizing that you were voting for the billionaire playboy as opposed to the environmentalist that wants plants to take over, and the other one wants to stop global warming. Yeah. You're like, that's a good point. Or just in general, Batman, what is he? A billionaire playboy that beats up mentally ill people.
Like, Lex Luthor's got some pretty good policies.
That's how I started noticing it was changing. I was like, his execution isn't great, but Lex Luthor's kind of making sense. He's worried about if Superman goes rogue. What are we gonna do? Nothing. You can't do anything.
We gotta have a plan.
We gotta have an idea what to do. You're like, he's not wrong. It's not that crazy of a thought. Like, at least one thing. Like, but yeah. So I think that's what it is. Is like you just heard villains, because villains just become the more interesting characters because of that.
Yeah.
You know, they're doing something that is wrong, but
it's in the way that they're going or about their whatever they believe in is in a moral way, but it's coming from a very grounded, real sense of fear and oppression sometimes.
Yeah, and I guess it's also very important to remember too the difference between a villain and a protagonist or an antagonist.
Yeah.
Because those are two different things. Mm-hmm. So it's like in this movie, he, you can make the argument he's a villain, but at the end of the day,
he's the antagonist.
He's the antagonist.
Yeah.
Because what he sees he's doing is right and is for the greater good. So to him, we're the villain. The president's the villain for what he did.
Yeah.
So it just becomes more of an interesting.
I mean, that's a semantics type thing, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the human condition.
Yeah, because he's the hero in his story.
Yeah, but
that's why I want to be a Bond villain, like a new Bond villain, not like old school Bond villain. No,
okay.
Not like, hello Bond, I have a hairless cat.
That's actually a pretty great class in villain writing.
Yeah,
those you're talking about.
Dude, like Javier Bardem. Skyfall, yeah.
Fucking Mad Mikkelsen,
yeah.
That's the one thing I always like. Whenever you get the villain's scheme in that, you're always like, God damn, that's a good idea. Right. Totally fucked up, but a really good idea. Like if you don't give a shit, like the guy in the second one is stealing water.
Yeah,
he's monopolizing water. You're like, all right, shit, special circle and hell for you, but god damn, guess what you're not gonna have? Water. All right, so we're gonna get off here and we're gonna figure out what we're doing next week.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do that.
All right, well, follow us on Instagram and Facebook if you enjoyed this. All of our posts are on there about what's coming up in the coming week. We do an episode every Friday. Tell your friends if you liked it. If you have any comments or suggestions, we are a self-produced podcast, so any info or any word.
I don't know. I've kind of blanked out in like 30 seconds.
Basically when I started talking. Any criticisms, constructive or otherwise, would appreciate it. I couldn't think of the word. Let us know how we're doing. Other than that, I think that's everything. This is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is
Tommy and Jacob's mixtape.
Oh, jump back in there, huh? Shh. Go sleep. Okay, bye. America, fuck yeah.